Good morning, canine lovers. I just wanted to make a couple of comments before we actually get going, because I'm a couple of minutes early. What's up on the screen now is all the talks that are being given by me. You'll see some of them have already been given by me. That's not to make you feel bad you missed it. It's to remind you of something that perhaps you heard and perhaps you want to ask me a question about. So I'm around the ship, not getting off anytime soon, nor are you. So if you want to know anything, do come find us, and us, me and my wife, happy to chat to you. Who saw the Wake Show this morning? Yeah, a few of you? Didn't Billy and Bernie do a great job at speaking dog? Of course, they missed quite a bit of speaking dog. They were only doing the vocal part of speaking dog, but they did a wonderful job, I thought. This is unlike the other presentations that I am making on the ship, in as much as you see there is joint authorship on this talk. That's me on the left, and on the right is my wife. And make yourself known, dear. Wave, so you can see her. And the reason this is a joint talk, well, that will become apparent in just a minute. But when we get to the questions, and in fact, if you want to know anything about dogs around the ship, my wife is the one you should approach first of all, because she is the dog whisperer where we are, and she knows much more, because she's been doing it longer than I have. Who are we? I've spent several lectures introducing myself, so I'm not going to say anything about me. My wife is an ex-business analyst. The two of us have been running a cage-free dog boarding facility, mostly my wife, because I was still working until a year and a half ago. We are completely cage-free, and we board dogs anywhere from just a day up to, I think our record is about 4 months. It's cage-free. What does that mean? That means the dogs are running around. So if, for example, you were all dogs, and this was my house, this is how it would be. There would be all the dogs, and there would be me and my wife, and you would be around us. We have a pack. We are known as Area K9, and as you can see, because of the high throughput of dogs that come through our facility, we've now amassed more than 80 years' experience in handling a dog. So yes, we know dogs, no doubt about it. We really do live with dogs. Let me point out a couple of notables here. There's Abel, there's Kane. Those are our two dogs. Those are Shetland sheepdogs. A couple of bulldogs there, Higgins and Sherman. There's Ben up there, there's Cosmo. That's Grady and others as well. That actually was a picture that was taken for a local newspaper. What is a dog? How do dogs know they're dogs? Look at the breeds today. Look at the Chihuahua and the Great Dane. Hey, how does a Chihuahua know a Great Dane's a dog? I mean, you look at these two, is it the same breed? I mean, sorry, not breed, same species. They're just so vastly different. But you know they've got very good species differentiation. They know what a dog is. They know a dog is a dog. They know that humans are not dogs. When we are referred to by some popularists as pack leaders, we are not dogs. We are something else. In fact, their species differentiation is so good, they don't think children are human. Some of us don't think children are human either. Why? Because children have big heads, they have jerky movements, they speak in squeaky voices. And dogs recognize there's a difference between the juvenile and the adult. But the most important difference, of course, is smell. And I'll talk about smell later as we move through this. I see this species differentiation every day. Well, not quite every day. We have toads, we have snakes, we have squirrels where we are. Squirrels, they want to tear apart. Snakes, I have never seen a dog react to a snake yet. They just completely ignore them. Toads and frogs, one or two of the dogs in the pack may show a little bit of interest, otherwise they completely ignore it. Why, I'm not sure, but they obviously recognize that they're not dogs. This is Tristan. Tristan is a Catahoula. Tristan is asleep. This is in our facility. Tristan is on his back, he's exposing his stomach. This is a very vulnerable position. This is the most vulnerable position a dog or wolf could be in, because this is the soft underbelly that is easy to rip open. Have you ever seen a dog dig? They can dig a big hole really quickly. Can you imagine what would happen to him if someone jumped on his stomach and started to dig? He doesn't care, because he is a very assertive animal, what I would call a top dog, not in all situations. And how do I know that he doesn't care? Well, this is how I know. Because all the dogs are around him and they're all leaving him alone. Incidentally, the dog on your left, the tan-colored dog, is also a Catahoula, but unfortunately does not share Tristan's assertive nature, and he is actually a wimp. But there we go. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the specific breed that has the assertive qualities that some dogs do. Here's some more. If I saw it first, it's mine. If you're playing with something and you put it down, it becomes mine. Yes, I see that all the time, but I really like the last rule. If it's broken, it's yours. Okay, understanding your dog. Do they have emotions? How many dog owners in here? Lots of you. You're all going to say yes to this, right? You see all of these emotions in your dog, correct? Yes, absolutely. However, there's one dog that doesn't seem to have that emotion, fear. And it's pictured there on the screen. It is the teacup, or small mini Yorkshire Terrier. Fear seems to be replaced with another emotion that is unique to this breed. What about their sight? It was once thought that dogs saw in black and white. I remember that as a kid, being told that dogs saw in black and white. Well, we know more now. They do have rods and cones like we do, but they have less of them. So they have a color spectrum, but it is reduced. So on the bottom you see the human's color spectrum, ranging from the red all the way to the indigo, and on the upper one you see the dog's view. So the red is largely missing in the dog's sight. However, they can detect movement better than we can, and they see very well in low light conditions. So they see best at dusk and dawn, which is traditionally when canids would hunt. Here's another example of what they see. So down on the bottom left and top left, you see the human view, you see the red, quite vivid, and on the right, you see the dog's view. Do they think? Well, of course they think, but people are now trying to understand how they think. There is some work going on using magnetic resonance imaging. There's some mean experiments that started in 2012. It's going up, continuing. There's one group that's doing this. The first part, the first 2 years, they were basically training the dogs to go into the machine that you see there on the screen, awake, not anesthetized, and staying still while something could be done to the dog so they could see what brain circuit was activating. Well, now they've actually achieved something. This is a very interesting experiment. The dog in the middle is smelling a Q-tip. And depending on what's on that Q-tip, different parts of the brain will fire off. So over on the left, the smell center has been activated. It is smelling the sweat of a stranger. Over on the right, the dog is smelling the sweat of its owner. And the reward center is firing. So the dog is actually getting a pleasure response from smelling the sweat of the owner. I think this is fascinating, this work that's going on. I've shown you 3 dogs. What's the common feature with these 3 dogs? Border Collie, yes. The dog plus. There's Chaser. Chaser there on the right-hand screen. Chaser there in the middle. These are some of the objects that Chaser knows by name and can retrieve. Chaser can retrieve things being shown a picture of the object. Very smart Border Collie. There's a mound of toys that belong to Chaser. I mean, 1,000 toys. Think about the pile 1,000 toys makes. Dogs and language. So when you talk to your dog, you see in the upper part of that cartoon, Man is talking to the dog, okay, Ginger, I've had it, you stay out of the garbage, etc., etc., etc. And what Ginger is hearing is blah, 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 Ginger, blah, 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 Ginger, blah. It's a little bit of an oversimplification, because if in fact you had trained some words in, then Ginger would recognize those words, but that's meant to be funny as well. So how do dogs talk to each other? This is really what you came here to find out. So dogs are constantly giving out signals. This is Jersey. Jersey is a chocolate lab Doberman mix, and well, Jersey's standing still in the picture, of course, but dogs generally don't stand still for very long. Something's moving. And you see all of those things that are flashing on the screen are sending out signals to other dogs. And that means something. Where the eyes are, where the head is, where the stance is, where the tail is, their excitement level, whether they're bouncing around or not, whether they're panting or not. This all means something to another dog. So, dialects, you wouldn't believe it, but dogs have dialects. They don't all speak dog the same way. This can cause problems. So what I've showed on this chart is going from puppy speak to adult dog speak. The one at the top there, the Cavalier King Charles, the wonderful lap dog, does not speak dog very well at all compared to adult dogs. That means that dog cannot A, make the signal necessary for the adult dog to recognize, and B, cannot understand some of the signals that the adult dog can show. This can cause fatal problems if the dog dialects are too extreme. For example, I have heard of one dog going into a submissive position relative to another dog that is going down on the back, exposing the belly. The dog that was being submitted to didn't understand it and attacked and killed the dog. So dialects are important. Okay, a couple of case studies, 3 case studies actually. The first one you're going to see is 2 yellow labs with some food in between them. Somebody's going to get the food. So as this progresses, see if you can pick out any key features that show you which dog's going to win. Following that, I'm going to show you a video of a golden retriever entering our pack. This is a very assertive animal. Again, look at some of the features, look at the tail position, look at the ear positions, and look at how the other dogs react to this golden retriever coming in. And very close to that retriever coming in, we had a more submissive animal come into the pack. I have a video of that one. It is a white German Shepherd, the name of Angel. And again, look at the different body postures of the white German Shepherd. So, this is Bentley coming out into the pack. Notice the tail is high. Simon there, the St. Bernard, is a bully, and will try and assert himself in a minute. Notice Bentley is paying almost no attention to the other dogs. There's Simon saying, look, I'm here, I'm big, you need to pay attention to me. And Bentley simply looks away. And the King Shepherd there is a wuss, afraid of his own shadow, although he's come a long way since he's been coming to us. The Border Collie RJ is an equal in status to Bentley. We're having a mutual sniff. That's traffic going by. Bentley's now paying a little bit of attention to the others. You'll notice most of them now have left him alone. They've figured out where he is in the pack hierarchy, which is above them. And he's now being given all the space he needs because they all know who he is. Displacement. Displacement is an action that follows a little bit of a stress, and it is an unusual behavior for the situation. So, for example, a dog shaking for no reason whatsoever, a dog panting when it's not hot, or scratching or lipping the lips. The shaking I see all the time. Dogs will have a little come together, maybe a little bit hard, the play's a little bit too hard, they'll separate, one of them will shake. Or in fact, they may both shake. We see that very frequently. There are certain behaviors that are associated with fear. Well, we see these all the time too, every time my wife goes out driving, in fact. I'm going to get killed for that. Right? The drooling we see a lot of. When we always interview a new dog before it comes into the pack. And it's a very stressful situation for the dog coming into our environment, because we're not a dog park. All the dogs that are with us in our pack, they have ownership. So it's very different. In a dog park, it's neutral territory. So all these dogs have ownership of the property. The new dog coming in is a real stranger. So it's a very different feeling for the new dog coming in. So if they're not a confident dog, it's stressful. And so we see the drooling quite often. Because you might run into this dog. And I have to apologize to Rottweiler owners. The only reason I chose this picture is because this picture was what I wanted. It's a sitting dog, it's still. This does not mean all Rottweilers are 0 dogs. In fact, I love Rottweilers. Every Rottweiler we come through our facility is beautiful. Lovely dogs. So the 0 dog is unlike any other dog. All dogs, as I've told you, send out signals all the time. They're using their head, they're using their eyes, they're using their body, they're using their tail, they're using their paws. The 0 dog doesn't do this. The only thing that moves on this dog is the eyes. It is not telling you any information whatsoever. You come across one of these, go away. And do it quietly and slowly. Just go away, because this dog could explode on you, and you won't like what happens next. Further material, if you want to know about the evolution of dogs, the one on the lower left is a magnificent volume. It's just called Dogs. The one on the top right is a pictorial encyclopedia of dog language. It will show you all the different body postures that dogs exhibit depending on what the situation is. But this guy is the best. This is Ian Dunbar. Ian Dunbar is an animal behaviorist and a vet. That's him pictured there on the left. A little bit younger than he is today, but not much. His book on the right is the shortest, most concise training book that I've come across that is really high value. If you want to pick that up on eBay, you can, or you can buy it direct. How to teach a new dog old tricks. There's lots of great information on there. But in the middle, there are 2 books written by Dr. Dunbar before you get your puppy, which gives you pointers in selecting your puppy and what to do before you bring that dog into your home, and after you get your puppy, which also does the same thing. It gives you training tips on how to begin socializing your dog, how to start training it. They're both about 100 to 150 pages. They are free from him, and you can get these from our website. We've posted them on our website, and if you know anybody getting a puppy, I urge you to take a copy of before you get your puppy. If you know anyone who's got a dog, then I urge you to take after you get your puppy, because you never know, you might find a little gem of information in there, because he really is a world expert. And that brings me to the end of How to Speak Dog. Now, are there any questions? Are there any behaviors you want instantly corrected? Because we're here, and we will be for the next few days. I see a question right there. Luda, just to your left, there is a gentleman with a question.